Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this one, we're going over those huge comic book sales. Man, these are some really cool comic books on this list, and it's really great to see some really super valuable comics. And if you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to catch some more content like this, and leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of these comic books on the list. But now, let's get right into the comic books. First up, we got Marvel Mystery Comics number 37. We had a 2.0 with no previous record sales, going for $2,090. So that's a pretty cool comic, and just one of those cool early classic comic books. There's like the Nazi symbol on the cover, and man, that's just crazy. You know, back in the day, like, that would be what they put on comic books, and they would be fighting Nazis and stuff. I just think that that's so awesome to see that on comic book covers. Next up on the list, we got XMen Annual number 14. Now, this is the first appearance of Gambit. This is often cited as a cameo appearance of Gambit. You know, it's one of those Incredible Hulk 180, 181 things. So, but this one's certainly not as expensive as 266. And it's just a weird issue because apparently X-Men 266 was written as if it was going to come out before before this issue, but this issue came out June 19th, whereas X-Men 266 came out July 10th, you know, the month later. So that's just a weird one. But we had a 9.8 last sell in 2021 for $900. That's up 22% this week. Now we're going for $1,100. So actually a pretty cool comic, and something that if you can get, you know, a lower grade and just, you know, not spend too much money and hold off onto it, I could see this one going up a lot more in value, especially when we do see Gambit. Definitely feel like he's coming with the X-Men at some point. And the X-Men are coming. They're coming. Oh, yes. Next up on the list, we got Avengers number 57. Of course, it's the first appearance of Vision, but it's also the second appearance of Ultron. And the second appearance of Ultron is doing nothing for this comic. It's all about the Vision, baby. And I love this cover. It's such a cool cover. I love seeing, you know, that contrast, you know, that red, just crazy cool. And, you know, Vision's all big. But we had a 9.8. Last sell all the way back in 2020 for $26,400. That's up 33% this week, now going for $35,000. So a big investment, but man, that's a big payoff in 2 years. Next up on the list, we got X-Men number 109. This is the first appearance of Weapon Alpha, who later becomes Vindicator in X-Men 120. So a pretty cool issue, and this cover is really cool. I love seeing that old Wolverine on the cover. But we had a 7.5 last sell in December for $187. That's up 34% this week, now going for $250. So again, a pretty cool comic, and something that, you know, that'd be worth owning in my opinion. Something that you buy graded and kind of a higher grade because it's really not that expensive, but just hold off onto in the off chance that we do see him. X-Men, you know, they're coming, and they're really cool comic books to own, and there's so many characters that they could do, so you never know, but they're still really cool. Next up, we got Crime Suspense Story number 23. And holy smokes, look at that cover. It's crazy. You know, those old horror covers just would not fly nowadays. But we had a 4.5 last sell in May for $445. That's up 35% this week, now going for $600. Again, those horror covers are really, really cool. I would really actually hope to find a horror cover comic book one day. I just really haven't found on any collections that I bought, so I haven't, you know, kept any. Next up, we got Uncanny XMen number 7. This is the second appearance of the Blob. It's also the first appearance of Cerebro, the machine that amplifies Xavier's, Professor X's abilities. So a pretty cool comic in itself. We had an 8.5 last sell in May for $2,011. That's up 37% this week, now going for $2,750. So this is a really cool comic. Again, one of those early X-Men issues, and we're seeing a lot of X-Men on this list, but it's an early X-Men issue, so it's always worth owning, and just a really, really cool comic. Next up, we got Fantastic Four number 57. This is just an iconic Jack Kirby cover featuring Doctor Doom. So this is like a really sweet cover, and just like one of those really cool comic books for the cover. We had a 1.8 last sell in 2020 for $84. That's up 43% this week, now going for $120. So really not that expensive, but still a really cool comic. And you know, there have been a lot of speculations that Doctor Doom is coming, and I feel like, you know, he's coming, man. One of these days we're going to see Doctor Doom, and that's going to be so cool, and hopefully Marvel just does it right. Next up on the list, man, a big hitter. We got Amazing Fantasy number 15. And I got to, do a little this comic right here. This is a great issue. This is the first appearance of Spiderman. It's also the first appearance and death, unfortunately, of Uncle Ben. And it's also the first appearance of Aunt May and Flash Thompson. So, man, this is a really, really cool issue. There's so many things going for this comic. We had a 7.5 last week for $300,000. That's already up 50% this week. Now going for $450,000. This is a super expensive comic, and it is crazy because I remember, I don't know, like 10 years ago before I was even collecting, I knew of this comic, and it really wasn't that expensive. I mean, it was expensive, but for what it's become, it wasn't that expensive. Holy smokes, has this comic just taken off in value. And of course, everybody loves Spider-Man, so no wonder this comic's really taken off value. But this is one that's really expensive, so, if you bought it, if you can afford it, it's great to own because really we've only see it increase in value. So this is a really cool comic and one that, could be definitely worth owning. I can't say that. I'd say it's definitely worth owning because it's a really sweet issue. Next up on the list, we got Doctor Strange number 183. This is the first team appearance of the Undying Ones. This is a pretty cool cover and, it's a cool comic. We had a 9.2 last sell in 2018 for $351. That's up 52% this week. Now going for $535. Not a great issue to be invested in because that's a long time to see that kind of return. So not anything that I'd be invested in, but you never know with everything. So it could be one that's worth owning, but I wouldn't pay too much for it. Next up on the list, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 2, the second printing of it. We had a 6.5 last sold just in March for $100. It's already up 54% this week, going for $154. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are one of those weird issues where even the second and third printings of it are just still worth a lot, but they're cool comics. If you were to be invested into it, I think that's a good investment because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have just become more and more popular and more valuable over time. So they're really actually a really great issue to own. Next up on the list, we got Incredible Hulk number 2. This is a really cool issue. This is the second appearance of the Hulk, and it's the first time that we see the green skin on the Hulk. He was previously gray, and I think that this is a really cool issue, and I actually almost like it more than Incredible Hulk number 1, his first appearance. This is a really big issue and a really great one. We had a 2.0 last to sell in December for $1,725. That's up 55% this week, now going for $2,673. Again, I think this is a cool comic. If I had the money, I would certainly like to own one. I don't have the money for that right now, but it's a really cool comic and something, man, that's only going to increase in value over time because that's like a semi-blue chip key comic. So certainly one worth owning over time. Next up on the list, we got Showcase number 73. This is the first appearance and origin of the Creeper. It's also the first appearance of Professor Yachts. So again, a really cool issue for, a bunch of different reasons. We had a 9.4 last sell in 2020 for $575. That's up 56% this week, now going for $895. That's kind of a little long to be going up just that amount, but going up nonetheless is a great thing. But this isn't a comic that I'd be invested into. You never know, though. He could come, we could see an appearance, DC. You never know what characters they're going to do. So if you buy it for cheap, hold on to it. Who cares? Next up on the list, we got one of those cool classic comics. We got Thrilling Comics number 60. This is a cool issue and just one of those just one of those comic books that's popular for its cover. We had a 9.2 last sell in 2017 for $1,000. That's up 60% this week, now going for $1,600. So again, it's a cool issue and something, if you held on to it for a long time, those issues are going to increase in value for sure because we just keep seeing more and more collectors for those early ages. Next up on the list, we got Green Lantern number 7. This is a cool issue. This is the first appearance and origin of Sinestro. It's just one of those cool issues, and I really do like the Green Lantern issues. We had a 7.0 last sell in February for $1,800. That's already up 61% this week, now going for $2,895. This is an issue definitely worth owning, and he's somebody that we could see in the in any Green Lantern, kind of movie or TV show. Who knows what DC is going to do, but it could be something worth owning. Next up on the list, another cool horror issue. We got Haunt of Fear 16, and this is the first appearance of the Old Witch, the host of multiple horror anthology titles. So this is a pretty cool issue. We had a 5.5, last sell in 2019 for $595. That's up 77% this week, now going for $1,055. So again, a cool issue, not a big increase, in that amount of time, but still an increase nonetheless. So definitely an issue worth owning for the long haul if you have time to just sit on a comic. Next up on the list, we got Werewolf by Night number 33. This is the second appearance of Moon Knight, and in my opinion, this cover should have been his first appearance because this cover is way cooler than Werewolf by Night number 32. Again, that's in my opinion, but I feel like a lot of people feel the same way because, man, this cover is way better. We had a 2.5, last sell in December for $150. That's up 85% now this week, going for $278. So again, a really cool issue. The Moon Knight series, in my opinion, is killing it. I feel like the Moon Knight series is such a cool series, and it's cool to see this comic book on the list. Certainly one that I would love to own and just hold on to. We will probably see a dip down in the show after it, but who knows? We might not because, man, Moon Knight has been hot for a long time, even before it was announced that he was getting his own series. Next up on the list, we got Mary Marvel Comics number 1. Kind of interesting. This is the first appearance of Georgia Savannah, daughter of Dr. Savannah. We had a 3.5, last sell in 2019 for $575. That's up 91% this week, now going for $1,100. So certainly an issue worth a lot of money, and again, one of those cool early issues that it's just worth holding on to for a while. Next up on the list, we got War Against Crime number 10. This is the first appearance of the Vault Keeper and the Vault of Horror. This is a cool issue, and a guy's hiding a gun behind his back. Oh, what's he doing? We had a 5.0, last sell in 2020 for $1,500. That's up 133% this week, now going for $3,500. Man, that's a pretty expensive comic, even on a 5.0, but it's one of those early comics that's just a cool issue to own. Again, one of those ones that this one is really sweet, and if you want to just own it and display it, that's an awesome comic to own. These are certainly ones that I would love to own in lower grades because, in my opinion, any grade with the visible cover is just a cool comic because of what that comic stands for and what's happening in it. Next up on the list, we've got Special Marvel Edition number 15, the Jeweler's Mark Edition. So if you guys did not know, some comic books have Jeweler's Marks inside of them. It's special advertisement in it, and people do tend to pay a lot more for them. There's certain issues that have them, but not all of them do, but they're pretty cool in my opinion. This is the first appearance of Shang-Chi. So this is a really, really cool comic book in itself, even in the regular version. We had an 8.5, last sell in 2019 for $444. That's up 155% this week, now going for $1,133. I would be careful on the Mark Jewelers ones because who knows how long people are going to really be interested in that. So it's not one that I'd really recommend, but if you wanted to own it, certainly go right for it. It's not one that I would deter people from. If you like it, it's cool. Invest your money into it. Invest monies in things that you guys really like and want to put your money into. Next up on the list, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 129, the Mark Jewelers edition again. And of course, this is the first appearance of my favorite comic book character, the Punisher. And it's also the first appearance of the Jackal. And if you guys watched my last video, I actually just picked up that comic book. I'm so happy to own this thing. Man, you guys have no idea how ecstatic I am. We had a 6.5, last sell in 2020 for $1,185. Holy smokes, that's up 195% this week. Now going for $3,500. I can't believe how much more people will pay for certain things, like just having that jeweler's note in it. But again, this is an issue that I can't recommend owning the jeweler's notes because I don't know what's going to happen with those. But Amazing Spider-Man 129, obviously I have one, so they're definitely worth owning, and they're a really cool comic and a really cool first appearance. Next up on the list, we got Cave Woman #1. This is the first appearance of Cave Woman, Miriam Cooper. We had a 9.8. Last sell in 2012 for $355. That's up 886% this week. Now going for $3,500. Who knows if we would see, a huge increase like that if it wasn't a 9.8, because those 9.8s in certain issues are hard to get. So they don't come up very often. I mean, look how long that one took to come up again. But obviously it's an issue that people will spend money on, so it could be one worth owning. I'm certainly not going to look out for it. Now, lastly on the list, we got Wizard Magazine #1. This is the San Diego Comic-Con logo edition. The cover art is by Todd McFarlane himself, and it's a pretty interesting cover. We had a 9.0. Last sell all the way back in 2018. Who stole this one? They got it for $30. That's up 2,067% this week. Now going for $650. Wow, what a steal they got on that. To be able to invest that little money and now seeing what they go for, man, good job. That's going to do it for this list. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Hit that like button if you guys liked it. Let me know what you guys thought down below, and hit that subscribe if you want to catch some more content like this. But until the next one, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.